welcome to our next episode of Confused Couples.
Hi. Hi,
Hello.
Sahana.
Hey, Sahana, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So we have our first guest now.
Yes, officially opening the doors.
Yes. And I think Sahana comes from the Gen Z generation.
Yeah, I think so. Now there's more pressure on me, first guest and all.
No pressure at all. So, for our
Yeah.
viewers, Sahana is Sanjna's sister. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sanjana's sister. I'm usually her plus one everywhere. I ended up being the plus one of the confused couples as well. But like to add a little more context, of course, I'm a dancer too, and Sanjana and Ruth here are amazing dancers themselves.
How did you get into dancing and tell us a little bit about your experience so far?
How did I get into dancing? I got into dancing because Sanju used to dance. I have a series of pictures of me being a toddler and just copying everything she did. Like she's doing this for a picture, and then there's me trying to figure out which hand she's putting where. Yeah, I started dancing because Sanju was dancing, and I think it made sense for my mom also to just have me tag along when she dropped and picked her up from class. I started doing Bharatanatyam with Sanju, of course, but then I found myself dabbling with other styles much later, mainly like open style because I discovered Matt Stephenine on YouTube. So he used to have a lot of choreographies that he would post from his classes. He had like this thing called dance tutorials live, and they used to keep reposting videos of people who used to post. And then I remember making a YouTube account only to post what I learned and stuff, and then it transcended to Instagram and whatnot. But yeah, I also do this thing where I try to combine open style with Bharatanatyam, which is a little experimental, of course, and not everyone's cup of tea. It's not traditional per se, but I think it's nice to take a more modern approach to dance itself. At least not always, of course, but then just to make it more fun and engaging. I think there's a lot of people out there who appreciate classical art forms but don't necessarily want to learn it fully, but still have some amount of interest in it. So I would say that's for people who just want to try and not really learn the art form itself.
What do you mean by open style? Me and Ruth do not know what that is.
We are a little old, sorry.
I think I would also have to read a lot more to define open style correctly. But I would say that open style came from multiple street styles under hip hop. So you've got classic hip hop, light feet, whacking, locking, and breaking and whatnot. And open style was a concept that came from fusing all of these things. And it's called open style because it can be anything. It's just a piece of choreography where you put in multiple styles and it doesn't have to always be a piece of choreography. Even in ciphers and stuff, open style is just any style, whatever you want. It can be what you do. If I had to take a Bharatanatyam equivalent of it, I would just say fusion dance or something, where you would just combine an adavu with Kathak hand gestures or something like that. That would be
Okay,
open style and classical.
got it.
Yeah, so that's open style.
Right. And that is different from hip hop or urban per se.
Yeah, so hip hop is again the authentic street style. So hip hop itself is a culture. It's also rap. Hip hop is even in the clothes that you wear, baggy clothes and stuff. And all of that comes from the segregation rebellion in America. It originated from black culture. It's not that loose clothes were a statement from the beginning. It was what they had.
Yeah. It's
And
called
that
like a
turned.
trickle up. Yeah, it's called like a trickle up theory. Street style becomes high fashion, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting how you mentioned that hip hop is a culture and not a specific style, because it's a very different take on us, even classical dance. If in a way that we see it, it's part of the culture, right? And I mean, I would say that it inspires us to dress a certain way as well. I never thought of hip hop as a culture. I always assumed that it is a style of dance form. It makes so much more sense when you put it in that way, where you dress up that way, and it comes from a certain thought process of, okay, we rebel, or they want to stand up for themselves. I think that's a very interesting um, take.
Yeah, I think it's like a fact that we didn't really acknowledge. It's just we know there's hip hop culture, but like to actually define, say, no, it is a culture, it's not just a dance form.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
got
and
it.
you can apply it to any art form for that matter. Not that hip hop and classical dance could be equated, because I would say classical dance came from like elite people of that particular period, whereas hip hop came from rebellion. So it's like two complete opposites on the spectrum. But then at the end of the day, as an art form, it creates the same ecosystem, right? You have certain music and instruments, way of dressing, a certain dance form attached to it. So that kind of still stays the same, even though I would say the origins are completely different. Not like geographically, but I mean like the very intention of the form.
I think that's the same with even Western classical. Like if you see ballet, the kind
Yeah.
of music that they perform to, like Mozart and Bach and all of them, right? Like Vivaldi. So they're all like classical, and then there is a specific culture, like the European culture, or like whoever would embrace that and make it part of their dance forms, right? So I think that's a very beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think, yeah, everything has its own culture around it, be it Bharatnatyam or contemporary also. Because contemporary was the big thing, I think, when we were growing up, right, Ruth? Like
Yeah.
mixing Bharatnatyam dance and contemporary dance, where there were like some parts of ballet also in it.
Yeah, contemporary was very abstract. Like, there's no, for me at least, right? The way I see contemporary is it's very abstract, as in, like, there is no specific set of rules that you need to follow. Like, it's just a free flowing thing. Like, you can't tell that you're doing something wrong when you're doing contemporary, because you're just doing it out of intuition, like where your body wants to move, how your body wants to flow, right? So I feel like that's very hard as a classical dancer for myself, because I'm very restricted in my movements. And that's how, like, I've been conditioned. Like, that's how my body has been conditioned. So if you tell me to just flow like how your body would like to, I don't know how to do that. It's very difficult.
We have like a strict set of rules that we follow in Bharatnatyams, but I think now that's changing, especially with like reel culture and 1 minute dance reels, right, Sana?
Yeah, I might have much to say.
Let's go.
But coming back to the flow, I remember attending like a contemporary summer camp this one time. It was just like a 2 week thing where we learned very basic ballet, contemporary, all that, whatever. And we did this thing called contact improv. I don't remember, Sanju, if you were there in this particular workshop, but we tried something called contact improv, where everyone had to freestyle in contemporary with what you learned, but in a close knit like cluster, and not leave contact with each other while you do it. And it was the most obscure, crazy thing at that point. And I was still pretty young, okay? So, like, the whole, like, as you mature as a dancer, you understand movement better, and you like feel the movement, feel the music. Like, I wasn't like that. If you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'll do it like a robot. Like, that's how I danced. So it was so funny to me. But then now that I think about it, it was such a beautiful experience, because you're like attached to everyone in a cluster, and you're all listening to the music. Everyone's interpreting it differently, but you're moving in one unit.
That's mad. That's really
Yeah,
mad.
and like contemporary is so contemporary, right? Like it's so out of the box for people who do Bharatanatyam. Because Bharatanatyam is like a geometry class, right? You have formulae, you have angles, and you dance around that. That's how it feels. And not that it's restrictive in any way, like that the beauty lies in the structure of the art form, and contemporary is just
The
so,
opposite. Yeah.
yeah. And maybe I'm interpreting contemporary wrong. Like if someone who knows contemporary is watching this and I'm saying absolute bullshit, sorry, are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Absolute crap, then I am sorry.
I think there has been an influence of contemporary on Bharatanatyam. If you noticed Karanas, like the 108 different types of karanas. They're like different movements that were, I think, created by Padma Subramaniam, Guru Padma Subramaniam. So, if you look at it, the way she moves with like the toes pointed and creating like a circle with your toe moving like that, and even your hands and your hips move a certain way. I feel like that sort of breaks the geometry aspect of Bharatanatyam, what Sahana was mentioning,
Oh,
right? Because it's not, I wouldn't say it's not structured, but it's a little bit more flowy and more fluid with your body. Like the way she puts the hand up and like the jumps and everything, right? It's very curvy sort of way.
Another interesting observation here, like it's crazy that our minds go to contemporary and not our neighboring art forms. Like if you think about it, Odissi is all curves, Kathak is all flow.
yeah, actually.
Yeah,
Even Kathakali for that matter.
Yeah, Kathakali, Mohiniyattam is also curves. But
yeah.
then our brain just goes to the west and not the borders that we are in. Like crazy generational conditioning and
Yeah.
colonialism.
Yeah.
We have everything in India, right? I mean, it's just all of it exists and it's just slowly, slowly getting its recognition.
That recognition is mainly coming from social media, I think. The internet at large is just doing that for us today, I think.
And I feel like social media is out there and we are sitting here and we are able to watch people from like the other end of the world put out something, and I think that's crazy. That will actually segue us into this whole reel culture, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know like right now, as humans, our attention span is decreasing, becoming that of a goldfish. But short form content is now the in thing.
Do we like this or not?
I think it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, if someone uploaded a 1 hour Margam on YouTube, it wouldn't get as many views as a 1 minute choreography. And not that it's a bad thing, like I'm also party to it. I myself post 1 minute videos. But I think it comes down to what kind of content you want to consume, right? Like there is an audience that's looking for a 1 hour Margam online. There is an audience that doesn't know much, and a good way for them to find out something would be to find a 1 minute video of someone doing Bharatnatyam in between a bunch of random dance challenges. Like a lot of these little moves have made people find Afro, right? And I see something very similar with classical also.
But you cannot get away from this reel thing. Like we three are dancers, right? We have to make the reel now. If we don't make it, you're like, who are you? You're not a dancer. You don't even have a reel. But for a general audience, how will you know? Like even people who don't know Bharatnatyam that much do Bharatnatyam now on Instagram. How will anyone differentiate that just because the views are more, someone else can get more views? I don't know. And how is it for you because you're teaching people classical, semi classical? I want to hear both of your thoughts on that.
For me, I feel like it's more superficial over skill. Like you want to put out your content there, but then you might not be that skilled, but you just want to do it anyway. But for people who are actually very skilled, they're like, what is this? Like they would know the true depth of the art form, right? Like it's not meant for a 1 minute thing. And it is very sad, like you mentioned, Sanjana, that right now we as dancers, we are also forced to put ourselves out there because that has become our face card. And that is how people around us are going to be interacting with us, whether it's like performing anywhere or if you want to teach someone, they're all like, oh, can we see your Instagram profile? Like, how well are you doing there? Right? That is very unfortunate. But I think in this, people are sort of losing the essence of what the art form actually does. Especially choosing the trendy audio is, I just don't get that concept. Like, okay, maybe you get influenced by people dancing to the same audio and you want to do that. That's fine. But then, as classical dancers, we know how much time it takes to choreograph something, how much effort it takes to put that music, to create that music with the specific rhythm patterns or whatever, right? And then, if you want to share it and somebody else just takes that from you just like that because they have it freely available on their phone, I think it's not fair. Coming from an artist's point of view, I feel like it is sort of like exploiting their copyrights or whatever. That's my take. What do you think, Sahana?
So, I mean, I see it like this. So when someone puts out a piece of their choreography online and then when others pick it up and do it, it's okay as long as you're crediting them, I would say, because then you're spreading their work. For anyone standing in a room and teaching somebody, it would feel nice to like watch people emulate what they're doing, right? But then when you do it online, like the nuance there is that you need to make sure the creator of whatever you are posting is credited. There's a lot of choreographers that have actually gotten fame from their choreographies going viral, right? Like even recently, if you take like you know that Asakuda step and then Kachisera step going viral and stuff like that particular choreographer, I think her name is Usha. She was obviously like well known in the industry, but then she became like a much bigger name with her choreography going viral along with the song. Otherwise, like you said, Ruth, it's just picking up and stealing art. Like that's what it would come off as. Also, coming back to viral audios, I feel like that's also tied to dancers being forced to become content creators because the moment you're dabbling with content creation, you are trying to maximize your engagement and then you stick to things that are already booming online to kind of ride the same wave. It is like a vicious cycle, is what I feel. But then the good part, maybe I would say, is that when you do these slightly lesser effort kind of stuff where you're just tagging onto something viral, you're also creating a space for yourself to do something different. But unfortunately, that's not happening so often.
No, but see, my question again, so I understand what you're saying. My question is for Bharatnatyam dancing, it's like this, or say for open style also, reels will help you get engagement. But how many of these people who are giving you this engagement will actually come to a show when you are giving like a ticketed show, not free reel, right? When you're doing a ticketed show, how many of these people will actually show up? Will this much of effort that we're putting into making reels, sitting and choreographing for some time, wear that makeup, put the costume, take like 30 takes, sit and edit it, do all of this for one reel. And if you put, say, 10 reels or say 15 reels, how much of this effort is really worth it when it comes to actually going on stage and dancing? Will people of my age group come and sit for 1 hour and watch my like one full margam? There is no audience. Now everyone is famous. Everyone is getting views and everything. But what when it comes to actually making money? Unless you are that famous, you put in so much effort that amongst already like a million people who are making reels, whether they know Bharatnatyam or not, they are dancing. And among all these people, first of all, you have to get that much of engagement. Then you might make some money. And if that doesn't work, you have to turn to whatever stage shows is actually the main thing. When that's not happening, you're basically earning peanuts. So like what will keep us going? Like what is keeping us going?
For artists, I feel like right now the main source of income should be teaching because that is a stable option. Performing is very, very unstable. Like, you cannot tell when your next show is going to be. You cannot tell. Like, I feel like artists who are already established, even for them, it is very unpredictable because they didn't predict COVID would come in. They never predicted that they would lose stage shows, right? And for artists, career itself is very unstable. And I feel like this is where Instagram for me would be a plus point because through Instagram, you're able to reach to an audience. And from there, you might find people who are inspired by you, inspired to learn from you. So they would reach out to you saying that, hey, I really like your art. Can I like take classes from you and stuff like that, right? So that's where Instagram, according to me, helps the artist to increase their business in a way because they sort of create their brand online. But talking about passion alone will not help to sustain an artist.
That's true. Yes, that is for sure. You need to know to talk money, to talk business, to edit reels, to edit songs.
I think it's the aesthetics as well, right? Because Instagram is like, oh, if your lighting is bad, your video won't go viral. You know, it has to be done in a certain way that is very time consuming and which is out of your skills as a dancer. And you spend a lot of time just looking at the setup, seeing if you're in frame, things like that. So, yeah, that is not fun.
That's not fun.
What about you, Sahana? What do you think?
For me, I think it kind of plays out in multiple fronts because you can't have a single stream of income as an artist. It's like multiple things, right? So you're gonna earn a little bit from performing, from teaching, from like online content if that's something that you're doing. So I think it's about finding that balance. And when we dabble with multiple things, I think you just shouldn't be losing your art at the end of it. And coming to finding your audience, I think we all do this to find the right kind of audience. And your impressions may be like 10,000 on a video. There might be that one or two meaningful audience members that you find who are going to be sitting in the audience and clapping at your tirmanam or whatever it is, at the end of the day. And it's like marketing spend in a business. Like you may burn a lot of money, you may reach out to a whole lot of people who may or may not be relevant, but then the idea is to find those
Right.
few relevant people, and that will eventually happen. And I feel like with the whole Gen Z model with reels and short form content, I think an important part of that is reach. One thing leads to the other. So like Ruth mentioned, one thing leads to getting more students, and then these students find themselves more interested in the authentic form of the art, and that takes you to more traditional pieces online.
I feel like with social media, it's become accessible. Like you mentioned, right? Earlier, classical dance was something that was for like, I'd say you would be privileged to get an opportunity to learn classical dance. But right now, it is all out there. You just take one Banke Titli Uda song and you'll be like, oh, let me do classical on this. Why? Because I've seen videos of 1 minute doing classical dance on this, right? So it's become more accessible that way. Like, it's nice for people who want to have dance as their hobby and they're not finding the time to like go and attend classes on a regular basis. They would watch videos on their phone and they try to learn from what they see. And it's just a 1 minute video, so it will not take up much of their time as well. As a hobby, I think there's also a plus point there, but it's just this striking a balance of um, what we need to put out there if we are doing this full time or if we are like super serious about our art form and we know the purity of it and we don't believe in just performing for a minute. Yeah. What do you, yeah.
We are in that phase where we have this love hate with reels and we're just opening up to dancing to other things apart from the traditional dance. But Sahana, what do you think? How is like response to classes? Like what? Because every week you teach semi-classical and things like that. So clearly there is interest in the form, in classical forms. But how do you see it?
So for me, like with teaching, it's been about a year now where I teach a particular choreography in a class. And I was doing this for both classical as well as semi-classical. People that are learning dance these days, they're looking for an output in a very short period of time. This is persistent across styles, but I can speak for Bharatanatyam. Back in our day, like we spent years training before we were in a position where we could do a full item. Like it was, you would learn only legs to every adavu, only hands to every adavu, and then get into doing both together, and then do your alaripo. And we learned one adavu a class, right? Like it was like
Yeah.
at least a year of just taiya tai, taiya tai, and go home.
Yeah.
We did it, but I don't see that commitment in a lot of people today. Honestly, like even though this is the culture, like that makes me appreciate people who come and say I want to learn it the authentic way, and that makes you realize one, not a lot of people appreciate foundations, don't realize the importance of foundations to get yourself to a certain point where you can apply all your concepts into a meal, I would say, only with practice of the basics. And people don't understand that. They see someone doing a 1 minute piece, but they don't see the multiple years of effort that goes into training yourself into making that one piece, right?
Absolutely. This is what me and Ruth have been ranting about. So I think that is happening more so now because when you feel like you've done two good reels, you want to like become a dancer. That's it. Overnight, you're a professional dancer. Doesn't work like that.
I feel like, at least with my generation, the idea of being submissive to your teachers or anyone superior to you has come down a lot, right? And that's a good thing. Like, mutual respect is very important in a space, but that's also causing some unnecessary entitlement. I'm going to take a very specific experience. Much love to everyone, every student ever that has encountered me or learned from me. But I had this one specific experience where someone didn't show up to quite a few rehearsals before a show that we did. And I was training this group. This group was all new to Bharatnatyam almost, where we taught them a lot of basics, put that into very simple structured choreography, and they performed and didn't show up to the rehearsals. And then I had sent a video and I had marked positions for the people that were missing in this video. And I got a message saying that this person has not been to the rehearsal, and the message was, I am dancing well and I deserve to be in the front. Okay, and if I
What?
had said this to my dance teacher, I would not show my face in my dance class for the rest of my life. I would simply
Yeah.
walk out and say, thank you, this should not have come out of my mouth, but it did, and I will repent for the rest of my life. And I'm so glad that people have this kind of confidence, but like time and place, man. Like, I
The
don't know.
audacity.
Yeah, exactly. If you show up to the class and you're dancing and I've put you in the back, I completely understand. Like, everyone has those moments where they feel like, you know what, I don't think I'm getting enough limelight even though I'm on the stage. But you would ask, is there something I can change? Is there something I can do that would put me in the front? You would never say I deserve to be in the front, right? And like, I didn't know if I should appreciate how confident they were, or if I should be offended by the fact that they think it's okay to say something like that.
What do you think, Ruth? How will you react if somebody did that to you?
I would have just been like, listen, just to get things straight, you've not showed up for practice for the last few sessions. And I feel like there are other dancers who have put in a lot more effort and they would deserve to be in the front. But like, it was very unexpected for someone to say something like that.
I'm so glad it came as a text and didn't come in person or on a call, because I would not have known how to respond then. Also, like, I think that has more to do with like the traditional way of teaching, right? Like, we've learned in a traditional environment. And
No, but it's actually like respect for someone who's teaching you something. And at least in India, as far as I know, there is that guru culture that whatever that person is teaching me something, I respect them for that, right?
When that guru culture came into picture only because we've experienced that in person, live, face to face, right? And right now, with all the classes happening online, you don't really know what, like, you don't get the opportunity to see your akkas or your other students or your peers behaving a certain way, because it's like doing online classes, right? Like, you have no idea what the other person on the other side is like supposed to be telling you to do or
Yeah.
like expecting of you. So I feel like it all comes down to the culture, because we grew up in that community where we were taught to respect, like with our first puja, like our chalangai, we call it Gejje Puja in Kannada. Yeah. So from there only we've been taught that this is what you have to do. You have to do, say your prayer, you have to dress a certain way, you have to wear your shawl this way. So like all of that comes into picture when you're attending it in person. It's very difficult to inculcate those values when you're having sessions online. And I feel like that is a very big drawback of this. And that is one of the reasons why the Guru Shishya Parampara is not going forward like the way it used
It
to.
used to. And as simple as doing namaskaram, right? First thing we do is apologize to the ground, to Bhumi.
Yeah, that's
That,
when you're humble.
sorry, we're going to step on you and dance.
Yeah, like that's when the humility aspect sets in right there at the start, right?
One of my boss, right? She told some correction for this girl and she said, don't use, phones backstage. You're not supposed to use it. And that's it. The next day, the girl's like, I want to quit. And she left because she got this one comment. Are people like getting more sensitive? I don't know if it's a generational thing or, but the tolerance has gone down so much. Even Instagram Reels, if it's 3 minutes on Instagram, I don't think people will watch post 1 minute. Like,
Yeah.
that's how much they'll give
Have
you.
have you ever looked at the average watch time of something you've posted in your insights?
Yes.
If it's a 1 minute video, your average watch time is usually less than 20 seconds.
Yeah, 10 to 15 seconds.
But also coming to tolerance, I kind of see like this dichotomy there. In a way, it's good. I'm sure there's like certain things about the Guru Shishya culture that could maybe change with modernism, like this sense of friendship. You don't want to put your aramandi because you're scared of them. You want to do your aramandi well because you want to, right?
I think it starts with the fear. It starts with fear and then the fear changes to love.
Maybe, yeah, but then when you're younger, you need that fear to do it, which makes sense. But as you get older, your relationship with dance also matures with time, right? The fear factor is not so healthy. I could be wrong about it. Like, I know it's like a subjective opinion.
No. No, I get what you mean because there should be little fear, but not so much so that now you're scared to even ask, should I learn a new step?
There's so many people who quit dancing because they had the tattakata thrown at them. Like, I've come across so many people who said that to me, like, oh, bro, I used to get beaten for not putting aramandi, so I stopped going.
Okay, that's physical abuse.
Yeah,
Thankfully, our teachers were not like that.
I realized that a lot of us continued to dance because we weren't subject to that kind of an environment. You're not afraid of your teacher, you respect them for the kind of teachings they give you, right? Like, I feel the need to kind of create a sense of friendship with them.
Oh, it's a fun experience when you're teaching, right? I recently started as an instructor in one of the dance schools here, and they're all adults, and it's more like a fitness session for them than like a dance session. Because I think the first class when I went, I sort of mentally prepared myself to talk through the art form because I feel it might be something very new for them and just tell them a little bit about the origin and like why we do the things the way we do, like the namaskaram, and explain about the shlokam and all of that, right? But when I started that, I felt like they were so bored and they couldn't like wait to move their body. And then like, okay,
Aw.
cool, let's get into warm ups. And then we started enjoying the warm ups. And then after that, again, I was like talking to them about the aramandi and stuff like that. Again, like I could see yawns, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. So it's a very, I had to just change my way of teaching through trial and error and figure out like what would make them learn it from me. Because most of the times, as an instructor, you sort of prepare your content in advance. Say you have a 1 hour session, you will be like, okay, first 15 minutes, I'm going to do warm up, and then like step 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then you have like a ending where you want them to leave the class feeling more energized to come back again. So usually with our dance class, we take it as a series of a continuous learning session. So the next class you join, you pick up from where you left off in the last class. But here it's like every class is sort of like a session. So they want to come back, and when they come back, it's not the same set of students who come back. Like there's no consistency there. So it becomes very difficult as an instructor of dance to like start from where you left off, and you have to treat this as a whole new session again. You again do like whatever you were doing last class, right? So it's more of a Zumba session than a dance, like a Bharatanatyam class session. But again, I'm still figuring out my way here, and it's only been like, it's very, very new. It's just been 3 weeks. But that just makes me wonder. It's so true about not having the patience, right, to go through that whole rigorous training or whatever. But on the other side, there are people who just want to do this for fun. So I don't know where I stand. It makes sense when you think of it from their point of view as well. But then thinking about how much time you spend on dance, like the foundations and everything, right? I don't know which is right and which is wrong at this point. Like I'm sort of on the middle ground and I'm like, okay, should I do this? Should I not do this? Because at the end of the session, they would want to like learn something like a 30-minute or a 1 minute like intense session that they could be like, okay, yeah, today I learned this 1 minute choreo, right? But then with the first class of dance, like, what do you learn? It's, I don't know.
Yeah, like
It's
looking for
hard.
what is the takeaway from this class,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I think it's easier to inculcate that when you're a kid, but when you're an adult, I feel like, again, there are a lot of other added responsibilities, and you would have prior commitments that might stop you from doing this continuously. But it would be really nice if people, even if they don't do that, just appreciate like how much effort goes into this, and it's not like an instant gratification that they get.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you were saying that you don't know what's right or wrong here, but I don't see it as right or wrong. I see it as one leads to the other because it's two different sets of people. Right? For someone to come and say, "I want to learn Bharatanatyam for what it is someone who knows what it is. Whereas you have people who've never done this before, who maybe want to try, don't take it so seriously. But then I think that's when you realize that you want to take it seriously, right? So I see this as two separate tracks. Like what you said about not having the same set of students in a class is something that I dealt with for a very, very long time until very recently. I said, I don't think I want to teach Bharatanatyam like this anymore. It doesn't work. And, so now we've like figured out like a whole regular thing and all that. But what I was doing is I used to pick 3, 4 adavus. Every class would start with teaching Namaskaram, Aramandi, Murumandi, and then I would just put everything into like a 40-second piece to any song. And people showed up. And they came for like 5, 6 classes. They would pick up 3, 4 adavus in every class. They didn't do it with as much accuracy, form wise. But then it made them want to learn better and made them register for a full-fledged program where they learned Bharatanatyam from scratch. So I see, that it's not either or. It's like one leading to the other. So,
Right.
yeah.
Interesting.
That's how I see it, yeah.
Going forward, I feel like this is going to be our future. We need to embrace the whole social media reel culture because the more we are against it, the harder it'll be for us. Like it's gonna stab us in the back. But again, like we all know why we dance, and it's not because we want to do this in front of a screen. At least for me, it is like that feeling of I don't know if you all have watched the F1 movie where he says, I'm flying, like when he's on the road,
Yes.
I'm flying and I reach a point where nobody can touch me. And that's like the feeling that I get when I'm on stage. I'm
Oh my
flying.
God. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I forget everything that's happening.
I don't feel it on stage. I feel it just before.
Just
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Like, when you're like behind the wing and
Yeah.
the song starts. That's when I feel it. Like, that's
I'm
the
like
feeling.
feeling this anxiety
Yeah.
from inside, like
Yeah,
this.
right.
Yeah. I think for me, it's when I'm on stage and when the lights are on you, everything in front of you is like completely dark. And I feel like it's just me and my dance.
Yeah.
And I feel nervous before I start, but then once I'm on stage and the music is on, I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care about anything that's
Yeah.
happening.
I can't remember the rest of the world when I'm on stage. Like,
Yeah.
and some songs have this effect on me. Like when I feel it so much
Yeah.
and it's so intense because you're there and you're not yourself. You are
Yeah.
that character of that story and you're
Yeah.
doing it and it's just brilliant.
Amazing.
Like,
Yeah.
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 I don't feel that when I make reels.
Yeah, not at all. I don't enjoy my dance when I'm making content. Like, I feel like, oh, this is just another thing that I have to do. That's what I was just telling Sanjana also the other day when we were talking, right? When we record ourselves, it's like so much more stress about how we are looking, whether our angles are correct, because this is something that's going to be out there on the internet. So there's a lot of things that come into your mind when you're dancing, and it's not like you're dancing out of from your heart. You're not dancing from your heart when you're recording reels. You're just dancing because you want to get to that point where you can dance from your heart.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's something very natural about like the imperfections on stage, right? Like you're
Yeah.
just dancing with the music. You may not like maybe some line was wrong, but there's
Yeah.
there's beauty in that as well, right? Like when you watch
Yeah.
it, you do a take, you're like, oh my slant was incorrect. Let me do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. You start chasing perfection when you're rewatching your, yeah.
Yeah. But
How I miss being on stage now.
yeah, and
I think, I don't know if you people feel that, but if you give 150% of practice, then you'll get like 70 or 80% on stage after wearing the jewelry, after getting into your makeup, everything
It's a
costume.
whole process. Getting ready itself is I feel like it's a very pre-performance. Your space, it's your space at that point, right? So that's just you trying to mentally, physically prepare yourself for what is to come. But then after your stage performance, I feel like I want to go back. When am I getting a chance to go back again? Like it feels that way. So that's why we all dance.
Yeah. That practice sweat is like unmatched, right? Like once you're done with that, the kind of satisfaction that comes from, even if it was not a very successful practice, you've still done it. Like everyone, please bring back stage performances.
It's all there. Stage performances are there. It's just that we don't have the reach to get
Yeah.
on Instagram. But maybe I feel like for content creators, maybe their flying high moment might be when a reel does well.
Yeah,
You never
absolutely.
know. For me, it's during performance. For Sanjana, for you as well. For people who are doing reels, it might be like post performance, like getting
Like
that
post
attention. Yeah,
post
getting
performance.
post performance also. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think people in the comments, please let us know what is your F1 flying moment. And F1, please sponsor this video.
Very hopeful, huh?
Yeah. Sahana, how does it feel to be on the Confused Couples podcast?
Not confusing at all, even though it's called
Thank you.
confused. But yeah, it's been great. I mean, I've never done this before, but I hope I did fairly well. And I will apologize to the editors in advance.
But I think you made some really compelling, some really important points today, and I think Ruth would agree.
Yeah. All three of us had a lot to talk about, and we couldn't keep ourselves from cutting off from each other.
Nice one, guys.
Yeah, I think it's time to end. We'll wrap it up.
Much love to all our audience. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thanks, Sahana. Thank you for joining us. And if you guys have reached the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Keep supporting. Yeah. See you all in the next episode.
Let's all do like one dance pose quickly for the credits. 1, 2, 3, go.